Kelly. God bless you.
I know you do, Jeff. Hey guys, Kelly Stewart here, and I am doing a live stream call from Missouri with Jeffrey Weinhaus. He is a political prisoner who was doing his part to expose corruption that was going on in his state on many different levels, and he found himself incarcerated at the end of it. But his story is even bigger than just being incarcerated because of exposing corruption. He actually found himself in the hospital over it. So, Jeff, go ahead and say hello.
Hello. How are y'all doing?
Okay, guys. Can you guys hear Jeff okay? Can I get some thumbs up if you guys can hear him okay? Jeff, how are you doing today?
You know what? It's a great day, Kelly.
It's a great day. And you're in Missouri, correct?
Yes, at the Volunteer Correction Center, which is about 60 miles southwest of St. Louis.
And how long have you now been incarcerated, Jeff?
About four and a half years.
4.5 years. And so, your story is it's profound, what you have gone through, what you stood up against, and what you have gone through. And so I just want to give you an opportunity to tell your story. I know you've done recordings in the past, but I think it's a good time for a refresher.
All right.
And so if you can just tell us maybe what happened to you, and while you're talking, let's first go over what your charges are maybe, and you can explain to the audience kind of what you've been charged with, what your term is that you are supposed to serve, and then we can talk about how you actually got into that position.
Sure. I've actually been charged with the attempted to draw a weapon, attempted to murder a highway patrolman, and after they had seized my computers and cameras and told me to come get them, they decided they wanted to try to shoot me. They shot me twice in the head and twice in the chest. So, and by a miracle, I'm still alive.
And then they charged you with
the exact same. Yeah, the exact same thing that they did to me. That's what they charged me with.
And what was your sentence?
30 years, Kelly.
30 years. And so let's go to the day of the attack. What was going on? We've got some videos that we're going to go ahead and include in these links, you guys. And then I've got some pictures that I'll show also while Jeff is talking. But why don't you talk to us about what led you up to even going to meet these police officers?
Well, in late August of 2012, they came and seized my computers and cameras. In effect, my printing press, which I used to produce my publication called The Bulletin. At that time, I had been doing it 16 years, and the main thrust and focus of my little paper was to expose government corruption in the courts and in the police station, with the police as well. I filed what they call a writ of replevin with the Missouri Supreme Court to get my stuff back. And then the troopers called and said they had been ordered by the court to return my stuff. They arranged to meet me at an out-of-the-way gas station. I didn't really trust them, so I tried to find some people to go with me. I couldn't, so I got a hold of my ex-wife, and she was recording on the phone. And then I also activated a camera, which was a wristwatch I had on my wrist, and people can look at that video too.
Okay, so you were going to actually just collect up your belongings. Now, I was just watching the video from your wristwatch, and I did not realize that the video, if you go to freebulletinman.com, and that's a free bulletin, BULLETIN, and then MAN.com, you can watch the video that we're referring to. I thought that, Jeff, when you had told me previously that you... one moment. No, this isn't Gavin. He just gave me permission to go live off of his page because we have this jail call right now. So this is Kelly Stewart, and I'm reporting with Jeff Weinhaus, who is serving a 30-year prison for a crime that was actually done against him from the police department. But anyway, so in the recording I was watching, Jeff, I was surprised that you had actually started recording quite a ways before you got to meet with these police officers. And you told me that you've been singing praise songs, you were excited that you were going to get your stuff. And when I watched the video, that's exactly what was happening. You were, very excited you were going to be getting your computer back so that you could continue reporting. And then what happened when you went to meet these officers and when you went to get out of the car?
Well, I pulled up and got out of my car, and the first thing that once they, I had a sidearm on me. and it was a holster. But Missouri is an open carry state, so Article 1, Section 23 of the Missouri Constitution says your right to have a firearm should not be questioned. The first thing the trooper does when he sees my firearm is question why I have one, which draws my attention to the gun, obviously. And they all claim that I tried to draw from my right side. There were two FBI agents there to back them up, the troopers up. It turned out in depositions they didn't even see a weapon on my right side, much less me attempting to draw it. So within 13 seconds of me getting out of the car, I was shot at 6 times, hit 4 times, 2 times in the head and 2 times in my chest.
And you believe that those the locations that they shot you is that their intent was to kill you?
Well, yeah. I'd been giving them a hard time. I was actually running for coroner in Crawford County, where they were based out of, and had made it very clear I'd be looking into the police murdering a couple other people in the county there. A coroner in Missouri can call what they call a coroner's inquest and investigate murders, and on murder there is no statute of limitation. And I've been distributing my paper in that county. They were all well aware of who I was, and I was making life very uncomfortable for the courthouse.
So you were, for people who are just joining who are confused, so this is Jeff Weinhaus. He's serving a 30-year sentence for a crime that was actually committed against him. He had been exposing corruption in his county, and he had actually been running for public office, and he really, his goal was was justice and liberty for all, and he was exposing what was going on. And then he unlawfully had some of his possessions seized from him, his computer and some of his other things he used for his printing. And he then had a meeting that was scheduled with the police department to go and collect up his belongings. If you go to freebulletinman.com, you can watch this video where he is excited and going to collect his belongings, gets out of the car, and the officer says to him, "Why do you have a gun?" And when Jeff responds, "Why do you have a gun?" the man draws his gun and shoots at him 6 times, hitting him twice in the head and twice in the chest. Jeff, what was your recovery like, and when did you learn that you would actually be serving a sentence for what these police officers actually did to you?
Well, by the grace of God, I got shot on 9/11 of 2012. I actually walked out of the hospital on October 11th of 2012. I was in the hospital for 30 days. I was in a coma for 18 days. After I woke out of the coma, I went through physical therapy for about 12 days, and then I was able to get out of there. They had charged me with harassing a judge. I never had mentioned the judge's name in one of the videos I put up. I told them we were going to occupy the courthouse, set a protest down there at the courthouse,
right.
And that was scheduled for Constitution Day, which is September 17th, because simply these guys don't honor their oath to the Constitution or the people or the Creator.
Right.
So that's what my purpose and plan was, and to draw some attention to the campaign. But they didn't want that to happen, so on September 11th, they arranged for a meeting. They called it a ruse, where they lied to me, but I call it just a flat-out lie, and I walked into an ambush.
Wow. And when did you learn that you would be getting charged? Was it at the hospital, or?
No, actually, they never arrested me, even though they had an arrest warrant for me for tampering with the judge, and they found one morphine tablet, which was in my possession, but I had a script for it, so... But right. I wasn't in the bottle, so it didn't matter. But
they used that to actually come in and seize all of your reporting devices. Isn't that correct?
They said they had smelled marijuana too. And only one.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Only one trooper actually ended up smelling the marijuana, so it was just all a way to get into my house. I had previously put up some. Ads in the local papers around there in the county I was running for, saying if you had a problem with police corruption or you've been treated unfairly by the police, give me a call or email me. Okay. And I had over 200 responses. I really think they wanted to see who was contacting me as well.
Right.
You know.
So then by stealing your all of the things that you used for reporting, you were not able then to put out any more bulletins
Yeah,
or
well, yeah, we went out and got another computer within the next day or two, but I already had my paper pretty much, done for that time, and, it usually took me about a week to complete a paper, so I did it once a month. So, they preempted that, and also they took my video cameras, and which I used to put stuff up on YouTube, as you guys are doing.
Right. So you said they never actually arrested you when they first indicted you. What happened?
Well, on November 1st, I was free for 3 weeks because I didn't want to pay my medical bills. That's why they didn't arrest me. But on November 1st, I went to the court to answer the charges for the tampering on the judge. And at that time, the prosecuting attorney said, we're going to charge you with first-degree assault on a law enforcement officer, which is attempted murder on a cop is really what's really the charge. And they set the bond at $250,000, and I sat in that jail for just under a year. They took me to trial on October 8th. They compromised my attorney. My attorney didn't call the FBI agents to testify, didn't enter any of the still shots. By the grace of God, Kelly, I had a still shot reflected the holster off the back of my car, and that showed the weapon was on my left side, and the troopers, both of them testified that I tried to draw from my right side.
Wow.
So, we proved them to be liars. One of the troopers said he commanded me to get my hand off the gun. You listen to the tapes, that's not on there. He had engaged me in some conversation about having papers to sign. That's not on there. Altogether, Kelly, we've documented over 15 different lies these troopers told throughout the whole thing.
Wow. And so they charged. So you never tried to draw your gun, correct?
No. And I had a 12-gauge shotgun in my car. If my intent was to do them harm, I wouldn't have exited the car with a weapon in a retention holster. I had carried my gun in what they call an Army retention holster, where it secures the gun to jump out of an airplane.
Wow.
Very hard to draw from. They're not designed to draw from. And why would I want to harm them when I had felt in my heart from what they told me that I had achieved my goal, and that was to get my stuff back.
Right. So then when you went to trial to try to prove your innocence, this was after sitting for 13 months, correct?
Well, a little under a year, Kelly.
Okay, so you waited for a year for your day in trial, and the FBI agents, they were not allowed to testify in your behalf, is that correct?
Yeah, we had deposed the FBI agents in July of that year, and of 2013, and the FBI came back with saying that they didn't see a weapon on me on my right side, having a clear view thereof, and only saw my elbow move. I mean, that was the most incriminating thing they said. But the prosecuting attorney had taken them off his witness list once we had our depositions. They were originally on the witness list, but he didn't want them being called either. And my attorney, and I should have known better, sold me out. We paid this guy good money, and somehow along the way they got to him. And I should have went by my old adage, the battlefield is the courtroom, the judge and the prosecuting attorney are the enemy, and your lawyer is the enemy's spy, because that's certainly what happened in my situation.
Wow. And so then you were, it's my understanding, Jeff, that you actually had some type of a shocking device on so that you would not speak?
Oh, yeah. At trial, the sheriff's department went out and spent $1,500 on a device that attached to my calf. And if I were to get out of line in the courtroom, they were going to zap me with that.
So if you would have spoken up at all, they would have shocked you.
Yeah, and it took everything I could, Kelly, not to speak up when I realized what was exactly going on. My lawyer offered no exhibits. The still shot, that's the gun on the left side. One of the troopers approaching me with his gun out but pointed to the ground, and he doesn't take a position to fire until after the other guy fires. So if I was trying to draw my gun. He would have taken a little different posture. He wouldn't have certainly had his gun at the ground.
Right.
You know, the series of pictures didn't get in there. It was turned out 5 of the 12 jurors had friends or family in law enforcement, which should have been struck from the jury.
Wow.
I was demonized in the papers, you know, as an anti-government conspiracist.
Yeah. This is what they do. I've been watching a lot of information on the Oklahoma bombing, on Waco, on Ruby Ridge, and they say the same thing every time, anti-government. And it's so frustrating, because why are we not allowed to call them anti-citizens? You know,
well, yeah. You know, I'm anti-unconstitutional government.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could all agree with that. That's what we all are. We know we have a purpose for a government. The problem is our government doesn't understand that purpose anymore. They think their purpose is to manage and own us instead of keep our borders safe and make sure commerce is going between the other countries. And it's just
until you really get into it, Kelly. I mean, it's an eye-opening experience once you start to see things as they are, really, what's going on in America.
Yeah. Now, where are you at in your process? You've lost all of your appeals, is that correct?
Yeah, we've lost all the state appeals, which are, I've had this case reviewed by 7 different judges now. They've all found in favor of the state, you know, basically ignoring what I've, all my appeals. Of course, every one of those judges know who I am, know that my views politically of the Bar Association, the lawyers in general, the unconstitutional government, you know. So I didn't really expect to get a fair shake in those courts. You know, it's just as simple as that.
Yeah. And now you're serving a 30-year sentence. Now, you did say that you're getting ready to file basically a federal motion.
By the grace of God, I got a guy named Warren Markowitz out of Las Vegas to represent me, and we're going to try to get the conviction overturned at the federal level. Then once we're able to do that, then we have a civil suit that we'll file against the state of Missouri, along with all the troopers and the local sheriff. He didn't do anything to investigate it. We have no shortage of defendants.
Right. Wow, that's quite a story, Jeff. You've gone through a lot, and you're such an encouragement to so many people. Everybody that you call and speak with says the same thing. They say he's such a blessing, he's such an encouragement, and I want to thank you for that, because with everything you've been through, you have every right to sit in there and become bitter, and you're not allowing that to happen.
No, we got to be better and not bitter, Kelly. You know, God's got me here for a reason and a season. And I really, truly believe that when Gavin and you and Aaron and Rudy Davis and all the other ones I've been meeting throughout this whole thing, I was actually on Pastor James Manning's show on Tuesday. Guy out of Harlem, New York, has got a pretty big following. But it's all about God's glory. There's no earthly reason I should be alive. One of the bullets hit me in the temple and literally bounced out the top of my head. Never penetrated the skull.
Whoops. And it never penetrated the skull?
The other one was shot I had another one shot at the base of my skull, and the doctor said literally it went around the skull. I mean, it went around the spinal cord.
Wow.
And these were .40 caliber, what they call hollow point bullets, which are designed to inflict even more damage than a regular bullet.
Wow.
You know,
what a miracle.
I got shot twice in the chest, one of them collapsing my lung, and the other one shattered my upper left shoulder.
Wow. That is such a miracle that you survived to be shot 4 times.
And 2 of them missed me and ended up in the gas station where there were 6 people at.
Wow. Did you know these officers who shot you, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had known them from when they came to take my computers, and then I knew of them before all that, because they were harassing local businesses. I used to work for have an advertising agency that did a lot of work for the canoe outfitters and the parks and such in the area, and they were putting up roadblocks to hassle their customers. were hassling other local businesses who just didn't agree with the status quo. So it was a long train of events that led to this.
And you said that last year you spent, was it 45 days in solitary confinement?
Well, yeah, last July, 43 days in solitary confinement altogether.
And you said that Gavin had put a call out, and that people were actually calling the jail, and that you believe that did help get you out of solitary confinement.
Yeah, it certainly did, Kelly. I mean, these folks get tired of hearing from people, I guess. I don't know. But, ultimately it's in God's hands. And, at the end of the day, I've done nothing wrong,
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story and for letting us come alongside you and learn about this. It's, we know that this happens, but when you actually hear the voice behind the one that's suffering and knowing that, they almost killed you and you're sitting there serving a sentence for what was done to you. It's absolutely shocking. Now, I have the camera right now on the governor's, wait, do I have it on the, nope, here we go. The governor's phone number. You were saying that you currently have, is it Governor Eric Greitens?
Yeah, Eric Greitens is his name. He's a former Navy SEAL, a Republican, pro-life, and there's hope for him. We just need to continue praying for him.
And you believe that we need to be calling and sending him letters on your behalf to pardon you of these crimes.
Yeah, that would be the easiest and simplest way out of here, And, at the end of the day, Kelly, I'm the only victim, myself and my family. I've got 6 children, three older ones and 3 younger ones. The older ones are pretty much on their own, but the 3 younger ones, Mr. Father, their mother misses my support.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't. I've been able to send a little bit of child support here and there, thanks to the good people who put money on my commissary account in here. But my kids are suffering because of all this.
Yeah, because you took a stand and tried to expose what was going on in the system.
Well, yeah, and this had been a long time coming. In the year 2000, I actually ran for sheriff in the county I'm sitting in now. And they literally stole that election from me. I only gained 35 votes between the general and the primary election as a Republican, and my opponent gained over 8,000 after he had 1/3 of his own party vote against him in the primary.
Wow.
Which is an impossibility.
But you were very vocal with your political standings.
I direct mailed my paper at that time called The Provocateur to every registered voter in St. Francis County, and they were well aware of who I was and what I was all about.
Wow. Well, I'm going to ask people right now, there's 72 people watching, and I'm going to ask that you guys put a phone call in, even though it's a weekend. You can leave a message for Governor Eric Greitens, and his phone number is 573-751-3222. It's really simple. When we reach out and call, we just ask that you guys be respectful and be kind, but that you just simply call and request a pardon for Jeff Weinhaus. He committed no crime. He has plenty of evidence to prove his innocence, and he just needs a trial for that to happen where he is able to get a fair trial. We know that won't happen, so we're going to be asking Governor Eric to pardon Jeff Weinhaus. If you guys could put that call in, that would be an absolute blessing for this man, because he has suffered greatly, coming up on 5 years in prison for a crime that was committed against him.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to end with, Jeff?
Well, let's pray a little quick, Kelly. Heavenly Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus, thank you for everyone who's tuned into this. Thank you for Kelly and Gavin, Lord, and Aaron and Rudy and all the other ones who are just too numerous to mention, who've been with me and have supported me. And I just ask your blessing upon them. And Lord, just be with them throughout the day today and throughout the night tonight. And Lord, we know you're soon to come, so we ask you to help us to be ready for your return. Yes. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, Jeff. Well, thanks for sharing your story, and we'll talk with you again soon.
Kelly, I'll be in touch. Thank you very much. God bless you guys.
God bless you too. Bye-bye. All right, guys, so that was Jeff Weinhaus. I did make him a promise that I would help him get his story out. He is a good man. Any one of us could be in his position tomorrow if we became a big enough threat, our voices became a big enough threat. anything like this could happen. And unfortunately for Jeff, he was lawfully carrying his firearm like he always did. In the recording that you can hear, if you go online and listen to it, he's calling around trying to find somebody else to go with him because he's concerned. He's happy that he's getting his possessions back that were stolen. But he's concerned because he's going to meet with these officers and he knows that he's a target. So I believe that the Holy Spirit revealed that to Jeff before he even got there, that he needed to be cautious and that something was about to happen. He had his his watch was recording, and like he said, there was things that weren't allowed to come out in his trial, like the reflection of his holster in the window of his vehicle, showing that the officers lied about the side that his gun was on. They should have been able to disclose the type of holster he had to reveal that there was no way he could have quickly gone for this gun. He would have known that it was absolute death trap to reach for a gun when you have two officers in front of you and your gun is holstered the way that his was. So we want justice for Jeff. We want to stand in the gap for Jeff and get his story out there. So if you guys will share this and let people know what he's been suffering through. He is a strong man. He has called and prayed for me more times than I can count. Sometimes he calls just to say a prayer over my family. And that's it. 2-minute call. He'll call and say, I just felt like I needed to call and pray over you right now. And he does this for everybody. And there's so many people I've spoken to that say that they just cannot wait to hear from Jeff Weinhaus from jail because he's always fighting for them, spiritually always fighting for them. And so I want us to do our part to fight for him right now because he is where he is because of the crimes that he was exposing. And again, that could be any one of us tomorrow. And so let's stand in the gap for Jeff Weinhaus. I'm going to post some links on here so you guys can do some more reading and just try to understand more about his case and what he's gone through. And then as he takes this next step to file the complaints he's filing on the federal level, we can be praying for him and encouraging him and sending him letters and just helping him to fight the good fight. Most of our political prisoners have said over and over that what keeps them going is knowing they're not alone. The enemy always comes in and wants to encourage us to quit. But when we know we're not alone, we keep fighting and we keep standing. And so let's do that for Jeff Weinhaus. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Share this message and be a blessing.